Hello everyone and welcome back to the Liverpool Women's podcast. This is episode 53 and as you can see I'm joined by Chris, who has been on the channel a few times but he hasn't been on for a while, so I thought get you back in Amy's absence.
It's good to be back, and I have to say, chance to say in the flesh, congratulations on the anniversary. 53 episodes now, but 52 the other day.
Which is mad.
It's been fantastic so far, and I have to say I've been proud to be a part of it, and the award to show for it as well, and hopefully many more to come.
Yeah, hopefully this time next year we'll be in the same position. But kick-off question then, this is normally Amy's job, but obviously I've got big shoes to fill this week. My question is, favourite Liverpool shirt, past or present?
When I look back, I was actually looking in my wardrobe the other day because I've got quite a few shirts, especially because I've gone travelling and stuff. So I've got a few football shirts like Barcelona and like New York City. Just buy them, remember. But for Liverpool, the 2008-9 shirt, just because I remember obviously finishing second that season, but beating Real Madrid 4-0, beating United 4-1, and it actually still fit me, which I was very surprised at. And even going back, because obviously this season we've got pinstripes kind of based off past glories of like the European Cup in 77. I think 84 as well. I think there were pinstripes in 84, both in Rome. So that I just like that kind of design. And even like away shirts, I liked the yellow and red design from 2006, 2007.
Yeah, that was good.
There's just something about it, and I don't think you can really beat retro kits, really.
No, I quite like the this one's my favourite that I'm wearing now, but I quite like the, when you said 2009, the grey one that season. That's really nice as well.
I got that long sleeved.
Did you?
For some reason, I remember
it's
sweltering.
It was for Fernando Torres, because
I think I got him on the back actually.
That's what it was. Yeah. We'll move on then to the women's team. They played on Sunday against Coventry United ladies. They've had a pretty decent pre-season, Liverpool women. Drew against Cleveland 2-2 over in America, then won 6-0 against Metropolitan All-Stars, is that the name of them? And then won 4-2 against Coventry United ladies on Sunday. So overall, pretty decent pre-season so far for us.
And I think the girls needed a more calm pre-season, perhaps, obviously based off what was a bit crazier last season, what with all the signings and the managerial situation. I think it was good just for everybody involved that there was a more settled pre-season, just to get flowing, get the rhythm, get scoring goals, which they've done. I have to say that when I saw it was announced about the girls going over with the men's team over to the States, I thought, A, what a fantastic opportunity, and B, there isn't really a better place in the world to go on your first pre-season tour as the women's team, really. USA obviously just winning the World Cup, and just how big women's football is over there. I think they were able to kind of grasp how big the Women's Super League can potentially become. Yeah,
there was quite a few fans at their games as well, which was like, I was interested to see how that would work out, because the fixtures were announced, but it wasn't like where they were playing or how you get tickets or how you go there and whatever. So I was interested to see how many people would actually show up, but they got quite a decent attendance.
The game's got coverage as well, like commentary, the fans turning up. I remember on Liverpool Women's Instagram, some of the fans actually were turning up excited to meet the girls as well, which just shows how big Liverpool women's team is growing as a brand. Yeah,
and like you said, on the back of the World Cup with USA winning, they've got the fever for women's football over there. So, and obviously Liverpool have always been a big team over in the States. So it was perfectly worked by the marketing team there. Well done, good job.
I think that's an important thing, that pre-season tours, of course. I think a lot of people talk about pre-season in terms of the priority is fitness, but with the way modern football is now, it can't purely be fitness. There's so many marketing opportunities in pre-season. You go over there and people get to see Liverpool in the flesh, whereas they'd spend a lot of money just getting over here, never mind obviously getting the ticket and accommodation and stuff. Just the general travelling costs a lot of money nowadays. So to see Liverpool Football Club, both men and women in the flesh. It's a fantastic opportunity for marketing purposes as well, and to really expose the girls to what it's like to have high-profile women's teams, and having a good pre-season and showing what they're about as well. Because last season, I think goals were a bit of an issue, but it's good to see that they're flowing so far this season.
Well, there's been quite a few goals. Obviously, Sweetman Kirk's been on good form, which she was last season for us. And then Ashley Hodgson's come up with a few goals as well. Obviously, she came back in, I can't remember, maybe April, March last season. She obviously went out with an ACL injury, and she came back in and she got back into the squad, and she made a few appearances. But I feel like she's going to play a big role for us this season, especially because she's going to be wanting to fill that Laura Coombs spot as well. And
there's going to be competition for that. We were just talking before coming on that Jay Bailey's been signed. Is she going to be the one that Vicky Jepson sees as filling the Laura Coombs position? But then if you've got competition for these places, then that just makes people up their game even more, because if you're a top quality player, of course you maybe presume that it's yours, but then there'll be several people that view themselves as top quality players. So it's like battling for roles that has been left by a top quality player in Laura Coombs. So to have competition as well can only be good for the squad. And as I say, the chemistry is perhaps helped by less signings this season, because last year, I'll be honest with you, I lost count, because
we were trying to work it out then, weren't we? There was I counted 10 that I could remember.
Well, I remember there were 3 in a day last summer, and
there was
that to me, when I'm a player, or if I was a player rather, seeing people coming through the door every other day, thinking, are you here to take my place? Are you here to take my place? Am I being shipped out to make room for someone who hasn't even come in yet? Bringing in lots and lots of signings can create kind of an unstable atmosphere. So Vic Jepson clearly knows that she's got a good core to work with, knows that she needs to work in some areas, and that's what the players coming in have helped to satisfy her, if you like. They've helped to show her that people want to come from Manchester City to Liverpool. So there is the attraction for a team that overall had a disappointing season, but it's showing that there is enough to build and enough to attract players from top sides.
Definitely. I'm still waiting on the announcement of Tony Duggan.
we can hope.
We can only hope, can't we?
Do you reckon it's been agreed, or is she just waiting, or?
I think she's got somewhere to go. The rumours flying around yesterday was Atletico Madrid, wasn't it? But I think that's a bit of a mad one, because why would you go from Barca to Atletico Madrid in the same league, same stature of clubs, like in the women's game anyway? And then
I have to say, I didn't know an awful lot about Atletico Madrid before last season, but early on in the season, Everton played Manchester City, and it was at the game. And I talked to Manchester City's media team, because they were playing Atletico Madrid in the Champions League, and they just got a 1-1 draw. I think it was away in Madrid, and they were saying that Atletico Madrid were arguably one of the best teams that they've seen play Manchester City for a good few years, which surprised me a little bit, because, as I say, I wasn't that knowledgeable about the team. But then they went to the Etihad campus, and I think Atletico won 2-0. And so City going in as a team that would be thinking we're here to compete for the Champions League, getting knocked out in the first round.
That's good,
that does speak volumes. They're clearly a team that are looking to improve. We saw the 63,000 at the Wanda for the game against Barcelona, in which Duggan actually scored.
She did,
so she clearly would feel almost set in her surroundings. So that would be an opportunity for her, whilst I think there will be a little part of her that feels at some point England's going to come calling, just to come home.
Well, I've just had the whole, she's going to sign for Man United in the back of my head the whole time, because like the whole attraction of that club. But then I'm thinking, why would she go there and she'll want to go somewhere where she's going to start every week? She's not going to want to compete type of thing.
I looked at because when she tweeted her announcement, I looked at the replies. I think the first reply was a picture of her and Alex Greenwood, and a comment like saying, it's right.
Yeah.
Which would be a bit of a pill to take.
So there's Alex Greenwood, Mary Earps has just gone there, Abby McManus has just gone there. They've all played together. They're all best friends. They all love each other.
So there is a contingent that kind of, would I say it'd be a surprise? I think it'd be a marquee signing. It'd be a massive signing for United getting promoted in the manner that they did, to make such a big signing, because they'll be a team that, getting promoted, they won't just be happy with battling it out in mid-table. Manchester United will be a team that will look to compete with Arsenal, compete with Chelsea, compete with Manchester City. So we have the potential for a very exciting title race.
We do indeed. We'll talk a bit about cup competitions then. The Continental Cup draw was Friday.
Last week.
Friday, some point last week. Liverpool have been drawn with Aston Villa, Blackburn Rovers, Coventry United, Durham and Sheffield United. If I remember, I'll put the graphic on the actual screen just so it's easier for everyone. It'll be over here somewhere, so everyone can see the groups. Out of all them, who do you think has the toughest group?
First things first. When I saw the groups, I did a double take, because I thought, Liverpool are with 5 non-WSL teams. I just thought, that can't be right.
Yeah.
I think if you're Vicky Jefferson, you're looking at that draw. I think you'd have done a double take.
And then you look at Group C, and there's Birmingham, Everton, City, and United.
Absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
So
I feel sorry for Everton there.
Yeah.
But then again, they've made some decent signings this transfer window, so I reckon they're going to step up. I'm going to be
this season coming up, I'm going to be covering both Liverpool and Everton, which I'm fortunate to be able to do. So I will be expecting better from both teams, certainly in terms of goal scoring, but I think from Everton as well, I'll be expecting better from their just general play, because at times last season, you've got to remember, this is a team that I think Yeovil got. If you take away their points deduction, Yeovil got 7 points, and 6 of them came against Everton. So that will be that in Willie Kirk's mind. That will be okay. You got to say that right. But getting back to Liverpool, Durham, obviously, we know about them in the past.
Played them last season as well, didn't we?
Yeah, they've had a good run. They played Chelsea, obviously, in the quarterfinals of the FA Women's Cup, or Women's FA Cup. But if you're Liverpool, kind of going with 5 non-WSL teams, that creates its own pressure.
Yeah.
Of thinking, okay, we kind of have to win this group now.
Yeah, because automatically you look at it, and I'd be like, us to qualify, and I'd probably go with Durham to qualify as well. Just like not even having to think about it. But then, like you're saying, there is the added pressure of, it's going to be a bit embarrassing if you go and lose to.
Because the game against Coventry the other day, we got an idea about them.
Yeah.
Even if the old phrase, it's only pre-season. I'm personally, I'm not totally with that phrase, because I know people say, players don't play at 100%, but even then, there are issues with if you lose to a certain team in pre-season, then there is a psychological edge, I do believe. So to get one over on Coventry already, put 4 past them, shows they can beat them. Yeah. But at the same time, conceding 2 goals shows that there is stuff to work on. Yeah. With the likes of Villa, Blackburn, Sheffield United, I think they could be seen as unknown entities. So don't get me wrong, there is there will be Vicky will look at it and think, okay, top 2 in this group is an absolute minimum.
100%, yeah.
Because the top 2 of each group qualify, and to be honest with you, looking at that, if Liverpool don't finish in the top 2 of that, I think serious questions would have to be asked.
Would be serious questions, and I think this season for us, like, you could see the buzz when we got to the did we get to the quarter final of the FA Cup last season? We obviously drew City and lost away, but I think it's so important this season to have a good cup run. Yeah. And maybe try and better yourself and get like a semi-final, or even if you just reach the quarter-final stage again. But I think it's so important that Liverpool do, because we're going to be I think we're going to be moving up the table a little bit more. I do think that, but I don't think we're going to quite maybe reach top 4.
I don't anticipate a relegation battle.
No.
I don't anticipate. Considering last season, I wouldn't say there was particularly a battle just because Yeovil were so far adrift, especially towards the end. But this season, it is kind of alleviating that because there won't be those kind of issues this year. There won't be, if you have a poor season, there won't be those kind of parachutes to fall back on, or those kind of things to, as I say, just to fall back on.
Yeah.
So it is about starting the season well and getting a good cup run because cup wins they breed confidence, don't they? Especially when you look at Group C. Manchester City would expect themselves to go through, but then you look at Everton, who will be expected to be better, Birmingham, who will always expect to compete, and Manchester United. So Group C is very tough.
Well, that's true, looking at it, because like you're saying, only 2 teams go through, so you automatically you're eliminating 2 solid teams there.
Yeah.
Like, right now. So, and that leaves a lot of non-WSL teams left in it as well, which is interesting.
And on Group B, again, Arsenal, I think...
They're going to win everything, I reckon. They're just going to win everything. Yeah,
when I thought, during the World Cup, Myanmar, I have to say...
she was a bit disappointing. I was really... I said she was going to be top scorer.
At times I thought that she set the world alight. At times I thought she was disappointing. But at the same time, she's only... 23.
Yeah.
So, and the goals that she's scoring at that age, she will only continue to improve.
She's like all-time top goal scorer for Netherlands and all that as well. So
when players see that players from the WSL are performing on the world stage, that only makes the league more attractive. So Arsenal, as a club, just become better, become more attractive. Manchester City, obviously Ellen White going there before the tournament started, and having quite a sensational World Cup.
Yeah,
really. I don't think there's any other way to put it. Chelsea will, again, in Group D, will expect to win.
I'll expect better from Chelsea this season.
Yeah. Their start was what finished them off last season, because they all say you can't win the league in the first 2 months, but you can lose it. First, I think they won 1 in the first 5 last season.
They were all 1-1 draws or something as well, weren't they?
And one, I think, 5-0 loss against Arsenal as well. So when you put that kind of start together, you're immediately up against it. And when teams then have a bit between their teeth, it's very difficult to catch up on them. But I think overall, Liverpool, to say they're satisfied with that group would be an understatement.
Yeah, I think they couldn't have any complaints, really, could they? So talking about the WSL season then, obviously there's the whole thing of obviously Barclays have took over it this season. There's a more influx of money. Like you said, there'll be more attraction for players to come, and you've seen that already with some of the players who have signed for clubs. How do you think it'll change, and will it change for the good or for the bad, do you think?
I think personally it can only change for the better. As you say, with the money coming in, I would like to think that there's a decent sharing of the money. I don't know in terms of, say, top teams get more money, and obviously the lower down the prizes go. Or the lower the prizes go, rather. But I think that with the money coming in, I would like to think that kind of avoids a Yeovil situation.
Definitely.
I think that everyone associated with women's football and the coverage of women's football was immensely disappointed with what happened there.
It was heartbreaking for them as well, wasn't it?
Because when Yeovil won Everton last season, I talked to a few of the players after the game, and they said that, look, it is a tough situation, they just need to keep pushing on, but then to get that double demotion was very tough on them. It was very tough to take. So I'd like to think more money brings more stability, which, as I say, would kind of stop that kind of crisis happening again. It gets more recognition for Barclays to be sponsors of the Premier League for so long. To then, obviously the Premier League doesn't have a sponsor now, but to go from sponsoring the Premier League and now sponsoring the WSL is a huge statement. Obviously Barclays, it's got a lot of money to spend. It'll help with the infrastructure. It'll help with clubs, the running of clubs, bringing in players, and to give it a brand as well. So the Barclays Women's Super League, for me, that sounds fantastic for players coming in as well, because you know that there's a future for the Women's Super League as well.
100%, yeah.
So I think personally, because I think this will only bring in more sponsorships as well. I think this will only bring in more partnerships. So I think going forward, I think it is a very big boost.
How do you think it'll change in terms of a media's perspective then? So do you think there'll be more games televised? Do you think there'll be more, it's even down to, there's been times when we went to Prenton Park last season and we were fortunate enough to get press, and there'd only be maybe 3 or 4 other press people there. Do you think this season you're going to be maybe not getting a full attendance of media, but getting a lot more than what you had originally?
I think so. I think the plan should be to increase the coverage even more. BT Sport are obviously going to show live games.
Yeah, they're showing a few, aren't they?
There's going to be Facebook Live. There's going to be on the BBC Red Button. So there is going to be coverage. I would like to see the women's football show. I'd like to see that advertised better because it's always on the iPlayer. I just don't think there's enough to say it's there. And
at 11:25 on a Sunday night as well, you're like, oh.
We're waking up for Monday morning, and a lot of people probably would be asleep, but it's even just advertising it, just so that people know that it's there, that it is available on the iPlayer, just to view at your leisure. I think the coverage will only get better. I think it's got a solid grounding right now. But with Barclays, I think that will improve in the next few years as well. I think there's kind of a test though to kind of balance it, because whilst the World Cup was a success, you don't want people all of a sudden to think that the game closest to them is on TV, so you just watch it there. You want people to go to games. I think that one of the main successes, or one of the main ways to view how successful the World Cup will be in England, is to then view attendances and how they grow. Because Everton, they're moving from Southport, moving from Southport to Walton Hall Park.
Which is a good move from them.
It's a good move from them because being at Everton games last season, attendances, you can't paint over it. They weren't great at times. But Walton Hall Park, look, it's slap bang in the middle of Liverpool. They're putting in a new stand which should increase the capacity by around 500 to try and get people in. It is, say, because I know there'll be games, or there's a plan to put games on the same day, say Premier League games. So say Liverpool or Everton are at home and Everton Women play on the same day. You can go to the game and then it's just a stone's throw from either Anfield or Goodison. So I think that is a very clever tactic. Very clever ploy. I think Liverpool at Tranmere, I think that's fine, to be honest.
It's okay. We're there for another 3 seasons, so I mean, we can't really do anything about it now. Obviously, I'd like us to be in the centre of Liverpool like Everton are doing. I'd like us to do that, but you can't deny that Prenton Park is a brilliant stadium to play at, and we're one of the lucky ones who have a really decent stadium, so you can't really complain about that. I think it just, at times, it does put people off going to games, because you do have to go, obviously, through the tunnel, over to the other side, you have to pay to get through the tunnel, all stuff like that. Like, people, I think last season, because of how we struggled so much, the attraction wasn't there at times. We went through a period where we didn't win, I don't think, for 6 or 7 games. So obviously that's going to lower the attraction and stuff like that. But hopefully this season, a lot more people do come, because there is ways that you can get there, and it's easy enough, really.
And as I say, the advertising, I think, is going to be a big part of that. The whole marketing. That's why going to the States, making the women part of the club, because I think there's still kind of work on some parts for a lot of clubs to be done between saying, because I know Crystal Palace have just changed their name to Crystal Palace. So it's whether Liverpool, further down the line, take the decision to change from Liverpool Women to just Liverpool. Because I think that was a bold move from Crystal Palace.
It was.
I think it was a very bold move. But long term it could pay off, because I know during the World Cup there was a bit of annoyance where people were saying, okay, if the Women's World Cup is on, why does it say on the groups England Women, Argentina Women? Why doesn't it just say England or Argentina? So I think that is a little thing that could, in the future, make quite a large difference. Just in terms of recognising that it's a club as one. It's not, yes, it's the women's team, but at the end of the day, it's the same club.
Yeah.
I know then people can say about the under-18s and the 23s and all that kind of thing, but at the end of the day, if you put on a Liverpool shirt, you're representing Liverpool.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, final question, and because we're on the topic of where people are going to play and etc. There's the whole saga about teams doing the double headers with the men's team, and obviously Arsenal did it the other day in their pre-season. So the women played first on Sunday
against Bayern,
and then the men played Lyon straight after at the Emirates. And I think there was a decent attendance for the women's game. Was it like 28?
Yeah, I was going to say I think it was 28,000 or so, which at the Emirates, look, the Emirates is a magnificent stadium. I haven't had the pleasure of going there yet, but I'd like to think at some point down the line, being in the media, being in the media will take us there. Yeah. That was just fantastic. 28,000 for a pre-season game.
Brilliant, yeah.
Because I think the aim, obviously, you look at, I know we referenced earlier 63,000 for Atletico versus Barcelona, and still building towards that. But I think that has to be kind of the aim, because Manchester United versus Manchester City is going to, or Manchester City rather versus Manchester United is going to be at the Etihad. Chelsea versus Tottenham is going to be at Stamford Bridge. Yeah. That's the first weekend of the season, which is during the international break as well, which I think is a good initiative. Saying, look, the men's teams aren't playing, women's teams are. Come and watch the women's teams. I think that could get very good attendances. Unfortunately, I'm actually away that weekend because I would have liked to have seen how that went. I'll obviously I'll keep up with that.
I think me and Amy are both away as well. I'm back for the first game of the season, but Amy isn't. But it's I just don't know whether it's something that'll work. If it's something that continues throughout the season. Yeah. I think initially everyone will jump on the bandwagon for the opening fixture, but then are you going to get to December and January and people are still going to have that interest in doing a double header type of thing? Because
especially when it's freezing cold, are people going to be prepared to, if there's a double header, are people going to be prepared to effectively sit still
for like 5 hours?
For 5 hours or so. So that is going to be the test. I think it's good to trial it. It's good to trial it straight away, because I think, last season obviously there was the women's derby which got put to an earlier time. Yeah. But because I think when you look at it, I know we're talking about Everton going to Walton Hall Park. If that game had been at Walton Hall Park last year at 12 o'clock, prior to the men's derby at Anfield. It was like half 4. Like 4:05 or something, wasn't it? That is absolutely fantastic, because you would have got a good attendance, because it's only like a 20-minute walk or so. Yeah. So you would have got a very good attendance. Whether they kind of develop that kind of thing in terms of making a double header, but maybe at the local ground as opposed to being in the same stadium for 5 hours straight. Yeah. Perhaps that could be a good idea to trial.
It's also like, how does it work? Like, do you have to have a ticket for both games, or can you just have a ticket for one? Because if you only have a ticket for the women's team, do you then have to leave the stadium for when the men's game comes on? Yeah. Like, who's going to know that type of thing? Do you know what I mean? It must be that you're going to have a ticket that says it's valid for both the men's and women's game. Because
normally I think I've seen plenty of things where you have like a kind of joint ticket as such. Because I know for... bringing another sport into this, in rugby league, they're having kind of a competition called the 1895 Cup. They're having that final at Wembley. I think it's the same day. I'm not sure whether it's before or after, but they're having it the same day as the Challenge Cup final. Oh, okay. So the aim will be that people can watch both games. You can watch one if they want and go home, or they can watch both if they want. So I think the single ticket option for both would probably be the way forward. Making it more inclusive, and I think it's a good thing to trial, and then just gauge the feedback of it. Gauge the feedback. How many people are staying to watch both? How many people are watching both? I think going forwards, just any opportunity to kind of expose women's football more alongside the men's game, and just bring it all closer together. I think
that this season's definitely going to be trial and error for women's football in general, just obviously with the whole sponsorship and back of the World Cup and all stuff like that. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it pans out.
Yeah, I'd like to think it's done in a better way than some trial and error that the World Cup was used for, just because I think as it's all well and good saying, they brought those rules in, but then I think as the World Cup went on rather, I think it became painfully obvious that at times it was kind of a trial and error thing for some of the rules, which I didn't particularly like to see. But using it for marketing, I think, is different, because you're not using it in game scenarios in the highest elite level of women's sport. You're using it as a marketing ploy to get people more aware of it, get the advertising going up. So that would be fine for me. Yeah,
definitely. Well, this has been a lovely chat. We were going to talk about the World Cup, but then I think we'd be here for another half an hour and everyone will just click off, and we'd just get bored as well. But
before we go, I think just a shout out to Siobhan Chamberlain, former Liverpool goalkeeper. She's announced that she's pregnant with her first child.
Yeah, she's having a little baby, which is exciting. She said, so everyone initially thought, that's the end of her career then, because she's like 35, is she? But then she said that she's going to come back, so fair play. She's going to be involved in the United setup in a different capacity, which obviously is going to be a coaching role type of thing more than likely. So congratulations to her. But thank you for joining me. Thank you for coming in.
It's been good to be back.
Remember to like the video, comment and subscribe to the channel. Me and Amy will be back next week with a new podcast, and countdown to the first game of the season is on. But thank you for watching, and we'll see you all next time.